my channel. My name's Olivia, and today's video we're going to be talking about how to be an active participant in your labor and what does this mean. So when I first got pregnant, when I first found out I was pregnant, something I really wanted to do was prepare for my birth and be active in it, in the sense of like, it's not just a surgery that you go into, you go to sleep, and the doctors take care of you. It's something that you are heavily involved in and can determine how well your birth goes. Of course, I know that there are always other factors to birth and that it can change, and your baby is a part of it as well. But I think adequate preparation for your body, for your mind, for your spirit can help you be an active participant in your labor and it to go smoother than if you didn't prepare. Another thing I want to mention is, and something I had heard from in all my preparation, from, podcasts I was listening to, webinars I was listening to, birth is like a marathon. You wouldn't go run a marathon with zero training at all. So it's very important for you to treat birth similarly. You should be preparing for it, training for it, getting all of these aspects ready. If you were to run a marathon, you would train your body, you would train your mind, and potentially you would train your spirit as well to help you get some motivation to get through. What's your purpose? What's your why? And I think all those things are very important in birth, and that's kind of what I'm going to touch on today. So I'm going to start with the physical aspect of birth and how you can prepare physically. The most important thing is to keep moving your body. It is a workout when you give birth, so or some form of a workout, I would say. So it is really important that you keep moving your body throughout pregnancy, no matter how sluggish you feel, just because that's going to keep your body energized, keep that stamina going that you will need during birth. So things that I would recommend is walking. It was pretty cold for the bulk of my pregnancy, but I definitely tried to get those walks in when I could, or at the gym. But working out throughout your pregnancy is very important, especially if you're somebody who already works out prior to that. It shouldn't really be that much of a change. But one thing that I would recommend is kind of changing your workout. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing the same workouts that you're doing as long as they feel good. And I had to change some things, but most of my workouts stayed relatively the same. I just lowered the weight. But one thing to really start focusing on is your breathing when you're working out and practicing your breath into your workouts. I know this is something that people should be doing regularly while they work out, but it's just not something I focused on prior to being pregnant. So I think that that's really important. Focusing on your breath, exhaling as you push in whatever workout you're doing, whether you're doing squats or chest press, whatever, breathing out as you push, because that's going to be a very similar motion to what you'll do during birth. So working out is very important. And again, just changing those workouts a little bit to focus on your breath, because that's going to be something that will be helpful in birth. Stretching every day. This is so important. I'm somebody who normally stretches every day just because of years of cheerleading. That's ingrained into my mind. My body is just deteriorated from all the years of cheerleading, that stretching every day is just helpful for my back, everything. So stretching every day, and then again, just tailoring those stretches to be helpful for birth. So a lot of butterfly stretches, lunges, things like that, really opening up your hips and getting into that deep squat is very good to just try and keep everything nice and flexible and stretched out. Your muscles are going to get so tight with so much moving around that really stretching every day and putting that focus on those points is going to be super helpful. Okay, the last thing for the physical aspect is going to be things that also tie into your mind. So it would help train for birth. So it could be holding an ice cube in your hand for, I think, a couple minutes. While you're holding the ice cube, right? This is a physical thing. You're holding the ice cube and it's getting cold in your hand, and your hand is starting to feel like it's freezing. What do you do? Do you tense your body up and squeeze and, oh my gosh, I just have 30 more seconds of this? Or do you breathe and relax and just endure the pain of the ice cube? Now, holding an ice cube in your hand and your hand getting cold is really nothing compared to a birth, but it's the idea that when you're in pain, you don't tense up and just wait for it to be over. You breathe through it and endure the pain. And I think that's exactly what you need to do if you want to have a unmedicated birth. One thing that I really did that was super helpful for training for birth was wall sits. So I made it a point to do it 2 to 3 times a week. And I think that that's kind of the key to preparing for birth. There's so much information out there that can be overwhelming. And even up until the day I gave birth, I thought, did I prepare enough for this? And the fact of the matter is, you are never going to be prepared enough to give birth, to have a baby, to mother, to, you're just doing your best as you can. And I think that with all this information, I just took what I could. I took what made sense to me, what worked for my body, and I just implemented them into my daily routines. So for me, walking every day just didn't work because between work and working out still and taking care of, my home, I just didn't have time to walk every single day, but I made it a point to do it once a week. Don't get overwhelmed and do nothing. Just say, okay, where can I do this? So anyway, back to the wall sits. So I did this 2 to 3 times a week, 4 sets. So you do a wall sit, making sure that you are 90 degrees. So your body is literally at a 90 degree angle on the wall. And you hold it for, try to do a minute and a half. If you can't do a minute and a half at the beginning, just work up to it. Again, same thing as the ice cube situation. Focus on your music, focus on the breathing, focus on just not tensing up your body, even though you get into pain. Okay. And when I was doing this, I thought to myself, I could get through it. It was, just breathing through it, focusing on other things, and it went by. But I thought to myself, how am I going to do this for hours on end when it's birth? Like, I can do this 4 times, that's fine. But how am I going to do this 400 times, breathing through a contraction? But it is helpful for that mindfulness aspect of, this is a physical pain I'm going through, but I'm getting through it with my mind. So that leads me to preparing your mind for birth. So knowing the signs and stages of labor are going to help you to know what to do. And that's going to help you mentally, because you won't feel so confused and so alone and so overwhelmed by the experience. So I think preparing for labor as best you can. Listening to webinars, listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube videos is what really helped me prepare for my birth. And like I said, just know what's going to go on, know the stages of labor, know how I can move through labor quicker. So what can I do? What positions can I do? What things can I do to move this labor along? Because at different points of your labor, you want to be doing different things. So I think that that's really important and will help you feel more confident going into it, because okay, this is what happens first, then this happens, and I know that my labor is progressing effectively. And I can tell you right now, I did not spend a dime on any of this stuff. There's so much free information out there that you don't have to spend money to have a unmedicated birth. I am going to make a video on whether or not a doula would be a good decision for you, and kind of how I decided whether or not to use a doula or not to use a doula. So that's going to be another video. But I think you can do the adequate preparation yourself. You just have to take the time. The last thing that's very important for preparing your mind is listening to positive birth stories. So for some reason, when you get pregnant, everybody just uses that as a chance to share their traumatic birth stories. And I think it's just the fact that people want to share their story, because I realize getting pregnant, people just love talking about their kids, their birth, all these things. And I love that. I love hearing about it. But when you're pregnant and people are telling you like horror stories, it can be scary. It can plant this negative seed in your mind that like your birth isn't going to go to plan and like you want. And I think that it comes a time where that's just not helpful. It's not going to help your birth at all, hearing these things, bad things that happen to people, because it's just going to plant the seed of like, well, what if that happens to me? And yet I think you can use it as a tool to say, okay, well, what did that person's preparation look like? is there something I can do to help that situation not happen? And I think the best thing you can do is prepare as much as you can. So positive birth stories are going to be so impactful because one, you'll be again hearing of different stories, but ones that go positively, so you can plant positive seeds in your mind. Also knowing like the different trajectories people take. Like some people get to labor at home for a while because their contractions started and they are, you know, in the comfort of their own home for hours on end. But other people's like mine, my water broke and I went right to the hospital and that was that. It wasn't exactly what I thought would happen, but it was actually worked out great. So I think listening to a lot of positive birth stories is just going to keep that positive momentum in your brain and know that a lot of people have good stories. Every time I heard someone, whether it was, you know, at work, my friend, YouTube videos of people saying, I had an unmedicated birth and it was my best birth, my favorite birth, it was awesome. That keeps you like excited and just that positive aspect of it. Another thing that you can do to prepare your mind is some meditation, some breath work. Like I mentioned, breath work with the physical aspect of preparing for your birth and being an active participant in it is going to be very, very helpful in it. So you can practice those things prior to giving birth. You can practice the different breathing techniques available that you might want to implement when you're giving birth. Also meditation. There was a lot of things to do to prepare for birth. So one thing I would do while I was stretching is I would put on a meditation. I would just look up a hypnobirthing meditation and just a 10-minute one. I would play it while I stretched. So I was just doing 2 birds, 1 stone. And that was the best way to get that meditation in and try to focus on birth and positive affirmations and all these things while also preparing my body. So another thing I didn't mention about preparing your body is drinking raspberry tea and eating dates. So there's like mixed reviews on whether these work or whether, you know, when to start them. I started raspberry tea at 20 weeks because I listened to one of my free webinars that said you can start it at 20 weeks. I did not experience any cramping, anything like that people experience, but you just build up your tolerance for it. So you could start at like a half a cup, work up to, you know, a cup, one tea bag, 2 tea bags. So you can work that up if you do feel the cramping. Then the dates, I started at 34 weeks and I tried to do 6 dates a day. And I probably ate the 6 dates a day 4 to 5 times a week. So again, just getting it done, even if it's not every single day, that is supposed to soften your cervix. Again, whether that works or not, I just think it's a combination of doing all of these things that is going to help your labor go better. And then the last element to being an active participant in your birth is spiritual. So for me, I am a spiritual person. I believe in God, Jesus. I'm a Christian. So God designed my body to do this. I am so capable of this because God designed the woman's body to be able to do all these amazing things. And one of them is create a child and give birth and then be able to feed that child. So in my head, like that's what helped me get through birth. I created a playlist that was spiritual that I knew would motivate me through my birth, keep those positive affirmations, and know my why. So I think that's the biggest reason to prepare for birth is why do you want to have an unmedicated birth? What is your purpose in this? If it's just one woman I talked to literally had an unmedicated birth because her husband said that she couldn't do it. So she's like, tell me I can't do something and I'm definitely going to do it. So for it's different for every single person, and you just need to figure out what's your why. Why do you want to do this? Whatever speaks to you, preparing yourself spiritually is going to be very important for getting through. I hope this video was helpful for you to figure out what you can do to also be an active participant in your birth and how you can work with your body to get the baby out when the time comes effectively, safely, and have a positive birth experience as well. These were all the things that I did, and I think that they all together helped me be an active participant in my labor, right? I knew what was going on. I knew what to do. I worked with my body, and I think that's the biggest key to labor and having this positive experience. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.